The fire cracked and hissed, sparks shooting into the dark Montana sky, as if they were warning signs I didn't yet understand. My son, Jason, stood on the other side of the campfire, his face lit in shifting shadows. His smirk unsettled me. We'd come here for bonding, or at least that's what I thought. A father and son camping trip in the vast wilderness, away from city noise and distractions. Instead, I was beginning to realize he had something else in mind. Meet Grizzly Bear. Jason suddenly shouted, his voice sharp and almost mocking, before he kicked dirt over the campfire, extinguishing the only light we had. My heart lurched. The once warm, flickering glow turned into choking smoke and darkness. Jason, what the hell are you doing? I called out, but my voice seemed to vanish into the night, swallowed by the dense forest around us. I spun toward where I thought he had been, but he was already backing away, his flashlight beam bouncing chaotically as he moved. Then it was gone. Only the black silhouette of trees remained, towering and endless. The forest creaked and whispered, as though alive, and in that silence, the words "Meet Grizzly Bear" echoed inside my mind like a curse. I stumbled forward, hands outstretched, searching for him. My boots cracked twigs underfoot. The air was cold, heavy with pine resin, and carried an edge of danger that pressed against my skin. Every sound seemed amplified now. The rustle of branches, the distant howl of a coyote, the faint splash of a stream I hadn't noticed before. Jason, this isn't funny. I yelled again, but my voice wavered. A part of me already sensed this wasn't a prank. It was deliberate. He wanted me here, alone. I fumbled in my pocket for my phone, but the screen was black. Dead. No service, no light, no lifeline. My chest tightened as I realized just how cut off I was. Somewhere behind me, a branch snapped. Loud. Heavy. Not Jason. Not a coyote. Something larger. My heart pounded so violently it hurt. The image of a grizzly bear flashed in my mind. Claws, fangs, raw strength. Montana was bear country, and I knew the statistics. Rare encounters, but not impossible. And if Jason had deliberately left me here, the betrayal burned more than the fear. My own son. Why would he do this? Jason. I shouted again, this time raw, desperate. My voice cracked with equal parts fury and fear. No answer. Instead, the forest answered with its own language, a low growl rolling through the darkness, vibrating in my bones. I froze. Every instinct told me not to move. My breath hitched, shallow, as I strained to see through the darkness. My hands shook, useless without light or weapon. For the first time in my life, I wasn't sure if I was afraid of the wild around me, or of the boy I'd raised, who had just abandoned me to it. The growl lingered in the air long after it ended, like thunder that refused to die away. My body locked in place. The forest was too silent now, every creature hiding, listening. Somewhere out there, something large was breathing with me, waiting. I forced myself to step back slowly, trying not to snap another branch beneath my boots. My mind scrambled for options, survival tactics I half remembered from articles I'd once skimmed online. Don't run. Don't scream. Make yourself look bigger. But how do you look bigger when fear has shrunk you to nothing? Jason, I whispered this time, my voice shaking. Please, this isn't right. The words tasted bitter. I didn't even know if he could hear me, or if he even cared. My son, the boy I raised, coached through Little League, taught to ride a bike, had just left me in the forest as though I were disposable. And for what? Some sick thrill? Payback for years I'd worked too much, missed too many dinners, broken too many promises? The guilt stabbed at me, but I had no time to bleed. Another crack, this time closer. My breath stuttered, but I turned, forcing my eyes to pierce through the dark. My pupils stretched wide, and finally, faint shapes emerged. Endless pines swaying, shadows bending unnaturally. And then, two glints. Eyes. Reflective, golden, low to the ground. My heart skipped, then hammered against my ribs. The eyes blinked once and shifted, slow, deliberate. Not human. I forced a swallow, my throat dry as sandpaper. If it was a grizzly, I didn't stand a chance. No gun, no spray, not even a stick. Just my bare hands and a pocket knife somewhere buried deep in my pack back at camp. Camp I could no longer find. Easy, I muttered, half to myself, half to whatever stalked me. I'm not here to hurt you. The eyes vanished. The underbrush rustled, and a heavy body shifted deeper into the forest. I exhaled sharply, my knees nearly buckling with relief. For now, whatever it was had decided to leave. But the terror remained, stitched into my bones. I staggered forward, calling for Jason again, louder this time, the desperation cracking through. Jason, enough already. Where are you? Only silence answered. Then a beam of light flickered far ahead, a flashlight, sweeping quickly before disappearing again. My chest surged with both hope and rage. He was out there. He was watching me. Jason, I shouted, my voice echoing through the trees. Stop this. Do you hear me? Stop. My plea scattered like dust. The forest closed in tighter. My breath puffed into the cold night air, trembling. I could feel the vastness of the wilderness pressing against me, an ocean of trees and shadows. For the first time, I wasn't the father, the protector. I was the prey. And beneath the fear, a heavier weight settled in. Why would my own son want to see me broken like this? The answer, I feared, was one I wasn't ready to face. I stumbled through the trees, every step cracking against roots and fallen branches, echoing louder than I wanted. My lungs burned as the cold air scraped down my throat. Somewhere ahead, I thought I saw another flicker of Jason's light, taunting, pulling me deeper into the forest. But just as quickly, it vanished. I pressed my back against a thick pine, trying to steady my breathing. My hands trembled, not just from fear, but from something heavier pressing down on me. A memory surfaced, unbidden, sharp as glass. Jason was 12. He sat at the kitchen table, fists balled, his face red. You never keep your promises, Dad. You said you'd come to my game. And I had. At least, I'd tried. Work had swallowed me that day, like it did most days. By the time I made it to the field, the game was over. He didn't speak to me for a week. Was this his revenge? Years of disappointment packed into a cruel act of abandonment? The forest groaned above me as the wind picked up, making the trees sway like giants shifting in their sleep. I wrapped my arms around myself, trying to block the gust, when I heard it, another sound. Not the wind. Not an animal. A laugh. It was faint, but I knew it. Jason's laugh. Low, bitter, jagged. Jason, I shouted, spinning in circles, desperate to find the source. You don't understand what you're doing. This isn't just a joke. The laughter cut off. The silence afterward was worse, more suffocating than the darkness itself. My legs carried me forward before my brain caught up. I pushed through the underbrush, scratches ripping across my arms as branches clawed at me. I needed to find him, to grab him, to make him understand. Then the ground dropped. My foot caught on a rock, and I pitched forward, tumbling hard down a slope I hadn't seen. My shoulders slammed against dirt, then my head cracked against a root. Stars burst in my vision. I groaned, rolling onto my back, staring up at the thin slice of moon above the trees. For a long moment, I just lay there, dizzy, stunned. The cold earth seeped into my skin, grounding me. Somewhere above, I swore I saw another beam of Jason's light, faint, distant, like he was peering down at me from the ridge. Why, Jason? I whispered, my voice breaking. Why are you doing this to me? My answer came in the form of silence, and then another growl, closer this time. The same low, guttural rumble I'd heard before. I forced myself to sit up, ignoring the sharp ache in my head. My eyes scanned the tree line, and there it was again, those glowing eyes. Watching, waiting. Panic surged through me. I grabbed the nearest branch, thick and heavy, my makeshift weapon. My breath came in ragged gasps, the reality sinking in deeper. I wasn't just fighting for Jason's forgiveness anymore. I was fighting to survive the night. And somewhere, hidden in the darkness, my son was watching it all unfold. I staggered to my feet, gripping the branch like it was the only thing tethering me to life. My body ached from the fall, but adrenaline drowned out the worst of it. The growl came again, deeper now, vibrating through the ground beneath me. Stay back, I muttered, my voice hoarse. My eyes darted across the treeline, searching for the glint of eyes. Nothing, only shadows shifting with the wind. The forest was a cruel companion. Every whisper of leaves sounded like claws. Every crack of a branch echoed like a warning. My ears strained for direction, but the sounds bounced, misleading, as though the trees themselves were playing tricks on me. I forced myself forward, climbing the slope, gripping roots to pull myself higher. Dirt crumbled beneath my fingers, and my breath came in ragged bursts. When I reached the top, I spun around, scanning the darkness for Jason's light. Nothing. A memory slammed into me then, uninvited. Jason at 17, storming out of the house after another argument. "You don't see me, Dad. You never have." His words were sharp, final, like a door slamming shut forever. Now, standing alone in the Montana wilderness, I felt the weight of those words in my bones. Maybe he was right. Maybe I never saw him, not the way he needed me to. But this? Leaving me to die out here? What had I done to deserve this? "Jason," I roared, my voice shredding the silence. "I know you're out there. You think this makes you stronger? Braver? You're wrong. This doesn't make you a man." The forest answered with silence. Then, faintly, the light appeared again. A thin beam flickering between the trees, moving slow, deliberate. My chest surged with hope, anger, desperation all at once. I stumbled toward it, ignoring the sting of scratches and the ache in my legs. The light bobbed farther, like it was leading me. My instincts screamed that it was a trap, but my heart refused to let go. I had to reach him. Branches whipped against my face as I pushed through, until finally, I burst into a small clearing. The moonlight spilled just enough to reveal the space. Open ground surrounded by walls of pine. And at the far edge, the flashlight lay on the dirt. Alone. I froze. My chest heaved. My heart slammed, so loud it drowned out the night. "Jason." My voice cracked, softer this time. "Please don't do this." But there was no one. Only the flashlight, still glowing weakly, abandoned. I crouched, reaching for it with shaking hands. The beam quivered as I lifted it, sweeping across the clearing. Nothing but grass, trees, and shadows. No Jason. Then I heard it, a sound that froze my blood. Footsteps. Heavy. Slow. Circling the edge of the clearing. Not Jason. I whipped the light toward the sound, and for a split second, the beam caught fur. Thick, brown fur. My heart lurched into my throat. The growl followed, louder this time, rattling through my chest like thunder. And in that moment, I realized Jason hadn't abandoned me by accident. He'd planned this. He wanted me to face the wild, to face the very thing that could kill me. But why? The question gnawed at me as the shadows shifted and the beast moved closer, step by deliberate step. The clearing was no longer a refuge. It was a trap. My flashlight beam shook wildly as I swept it across the trees, and there it was again, a massive shadow moving between the trunks, heavier than any man, slower than any deer. The fur glistened under the weak light. The growl deepened, rolling through the night like a storm that had found me. "God," I whispered, clutching the branch tighter. My palms were slick with sweat, my breath ragged. I forced myself to remember every survival tip I'd ever read. Don't run. Don't turn your back. Make yourself big. I raised my arms, waving the branch, my voice breaking as I yelled into the darkness. "Hey, get out of here." The forest swallowed my shout, but the shadow didn't retreat. It paused, then moved closer, step by deliberate step, crushing grass under its weight. The flashlight caught its eyes again, burning gold, fixed on me. My stomach twisted. A grizzly. Massive, broad-shouldered, muscles rippling under its fur. Every story I'd ever read about maulings, every photo of shredded campsites, flashed in my mind. I backed up slowly, keeping the light steady. My legs quivered. Behind me was nothing but the open clearing. No shelter, no tree to climb. Just me, a stick, and the beast. My heart thundered. And then, as if summoned by my own fear, Jason's words echoed in my head again. "You don't see me, Dad. You never have." Was this his way of making me see him? By forcing me into the jaws of death? To prove something? To punish me? Anger flared, burning through the fear. I shouted again, louder, my voice tearing at the night. "Jason, is this what you want? You want to watch me die?" No answer. But I swore I felt eyes, human eyes, watching from the shadows beyond the beast. Watching, waiting, judging. The grizzly huffed, the sound sharp and guttural. My body stiffened. It lowered its head, sniffing the air, testing me. One step. Another. The ground trembled beneath its weight. My mind raced. If it charged, I had seconds. No gun. No spray. Just the branch in my hand and the will to live. I raised the stick higher, shouting with all the rage I'd buried for years. "Come on." For a heartbeat. The bear hesitated. Its massive frame shifted, ears twitching. Then it snorted and rose onto its hind legs, towering over me, higher than any man. My breath stopped. My vision blurred with terror. And yet, in that impossible moment, I thought of Jason again. The little boy who once clung to me during thunderstorms, whispering, "Don't let go, Dad." And here I was, abandoned by him, facing the storm alone. The bear let out a roar that rattled my skull. I staggered back, clutching the branch like a sword. My chest heaved, my body trembling. But somewhere deep inside, a spark lit. If Jason wanted to see me break, he wouldn't. Not tonight. I planted my feet, ready for whatever came next. The bear's roar shattered the night, echoing across the clearing like thunder rolling through the mountains. My whole body wanted to collapse, to give in, but something primal locked me upright. My hands shook violently, the branch wobbling in my grip, but I didn't lower it. The grizzly's chest expanded as it breathed, steam curling from its nostrils into the frigid air. Its size was overwhelming, a wall of muscle and fur, towering over me as if the earth itself had risen to crush me. My flashlight beam trembled across its face, catching the jagged scars across its snout. This wasn't a stranger to battles. Not tonight, I whispered, my voice shaking but defiant. The bear dropped onto all fours again with a crash that rattled my teeth. My gut clenched. It could charge. It would charge. I braced myself, every nerve screaming. But then it paused. Its head swung slightly, nose twitching. It sniffed, grunted, then turned a fraction toward the tree-line. And that's when I heard it, a faint sound. A shuffle. A breath. Jason. My rage boiled hotter than the fear. My son wasn't just watching, he was close. Close enough for the bear to sense him too. Jason. I roared, my voice cracking. This ends now. Do you hear me? Whatever anger you've got, this isn't the way. No reply. Only the rustle of leaves, as if someone shifted deeper into the shadows. Cowardly. Silent. The bear's eyes swung back to me, gleaming in the light. It huffed again, saliva dripping from its maw, muscles rippling as it stepped closer. Every survival instinct screamed at me to run, but I held. My boots dug into the dirt, my heart pounding so loud it drowned out everything else. I thought of all the times I'd failed Jason, birthdays missed, promises broken, arguments where I'd chosen work over him. They clawed at me, but I forced the guilt into fuel. You want to fight? I shouted at the beast. Then you're damn well getting one. I swung the branch through the air, smashing it against a nearby log, the cracks splitting through the clearing. The sound startled the bear for half a second. Its ears twitched, its head tilted. That was all I had, half a second of doubt. I waved the stick wildly, shouting, stomping, making myself larger than I felt. My throat tore with every scream, not just from fear, but from years of silence, years of not speaking my truth to my son. The bear growled again, the sound rattling deep in its chest. Then, slowly, it backed a step. Another. Its eyes never left mine. My breath caught, disbelief flooding me. It was retreating. The massive shape shifted back into the shadows, step by step, until finally, the darkness swallowed it whole. The forest fell silent again, save for my ragged breathing. I collapsed to my knees, clutching the branch, sweat pouring down my face. Relief flooded me, but it was poisoned by fury. Because even as the bear vanished, I knew Jason was still out there, watching, waiting. And for the first time that night, I wasn't afraid of the wilderness. I was afraid of what my own son had become. The silence after the bear left was deafening. My knees pressed into the dirt, my chest heaving, sweat freezing against my skin. For a moment, I just stared into the trees, waiting for the roar to return. But nothing came. The beast was gone. The branch slipped from my hands, falling with a dull thud. My muscles trembled with exhaustion, but I forced myself upright. Survival was no longer the only goal. I had to find Jason. I couldn't let him vanish into the forest, not after this. I clenched the flashlight tighter, its weak beam cutting shaky lines through the underbrush. Every shadow looked like him, every tree a figure turning away. My throat ached from shouting, but I yelled again anyway. Jason, we're ending this, right now? The only answer was the wind sighing through the pines. I pushed forward, step after step, each crunch of leaves beneath me louder than my own heartbeat. I swept the light side to side, searching for any trace of him. A footprint, a snapped branch, a glint of that damned smirk. As I walked, memories gnawed at me like wolves. Jason at 13, slamming his bedroom door after I told him I couldn't make it to his science fair. Jason at 15, eyes hard and distant, muttering, "You don't care about me." And I, too tired from work, too buried in my own struggles, had said nothing. I had let silence grow between us, wide as this forest. Now, that silence had swallowed us whole. A sharp crack snapped me from my thoughts. To my left, just beyond the beam of light, something moved. My chest tightened. I whipped the flashlight toward it and froze. There he was, Jason. He stood between two trees, half hidden in shadows. His hood was pulled up, his face pale in the glow. For a heartbeat, relief flooded me. I wanted to run to him, to grab him, to shake him and ask why. "Jason," my voice cracked raw. "Son, please, talk to me." He didn't move. His arms hung loose at his sides. His expression was unreadable. No smirk this time, no laughter. Just a blank stare that cut deeper than any insult. "Why are you doing this?" I begged, stepping closer. "Is this about me missing your games? Your birthdays? Is this about me not being there?" His lips parted. For a second, I thought he would speak. But instead, he turned. Slowly, deliberately, and walked deeper into the forest. "Jason, stop!" I shouted, my legs surging forward. I stumbled after him, branches slapping against my arms. The flashlight beam wobbled wildly, bouncing off trees and roots. But no matter how fast I pushed, he stayed just out of reach. Always ahead, always vanishing between shadows, like the forest itself swallowed him whole. I tripped again, crashing to my knees, the flashlight rolling from my hand. Pain shot through my palms as rocks cut into them. I scrambled, grabbed the light, and shone it ahead. Jason was gone. My chest heaved, anger surging hot through my veins. He wasn't just running, he was leading me. Deeper, farther from safety. I tightened my grip on the flashlight. My jaw clenched so hard it ached. "You think I'll break, Jason?" I muttered to the dark. "You think I'll just give up?" "No, not tonight. You want me to see you? Fine. I see you." The trees loomed taller around me, the night pressing heavier. My son was out there, my flesh and blood, and I would find him, no matter how deep into this hell he dragged me. The forest felt endless. My legs burned, my lungs screamed, but I pushed deeper, following the faint echoes of Jason's movement. My flashlight beam wavered across roots and branches, desperate to catch even a glimpse of him. "Jason," I bellowed again, my voice raw. "You can't keep running. Talk to me." Silence pressed in, heavy and suffocating. I staggered over a fallen log, scraped my shin, cursed under my breath. Then, just as I thought I'd lost him completely, his voice cut through the night. "Talk to you." I froze. My heart lurched. It wasn't a shout, not even a whisper, just a cold, flat tone drifting from the trees. "Jason," I gasped, whipping the light around. "Where are you? Please, son." "You only want to talk now," he interrupted, his words slicing the air. "Now that you're scared. Now that you need me." The beam caught nothing but bark and branches, but his voice was everywhere, bouncing through the forest like the trees themselves were speaking. "That's not true," I cried, spinning in circles. "I've always needed you." "Needed me?" His laugh was low, bitter. "No, Dad. You needed your job. You needed your reputation. You needed everyone else more than you ever needed me." My stomach twisted. The guilt I'd been trying to bury clawed its way up. "Jason, I know I failed you." I admitted, my voice breaking. "I should have been there. I should have listened. But I'm here now. I'm fighting for you now." "Fighting?" His tone dripped with mockery. "You call this fighting? Wandering lost in the woods, begging me to show myself? You're weak, Dad. You've always been weak." His words stabbed deep, sharper than any claw. "If I'm weak," I shouted back, "then why did you come out here with me at all? Why not just walk away, like I feared you would?" For a moment, silence. Then, "Because I wanted you to feel what I felt. Alone, forgotten, afraid." The words hung in the air, heavy as stone. My breath hitched. This wasn't just rebellion. This wasn't just anger. Jason had planned this with purpose, to punish me. "You think abandoning me out here makes us even?" I demanded, fury mixing with despair. "You think leaving me for dead erases the years I messed up? Jason, listen to me. This isn't the way. Hurting me won't heal you." His voice sharpened, like broken glass. Then maybe it heals me to watch you suffer. Maybe it heals me to see you finally powerless. I staggered back a step, my legs weak. I had expected anger. I had expected shouting, maybe even hatred. But this coldness, this deliberate cruelty, it was something darker. I shone the flashlight wildly, desperate to pin him down. And then, finally, it caught him. Jason stood between two trees, just a dozen yards away. His hood was down now, his face fully visible in the beam. His eyes burned with something I barely recognized. Rage mixed with pain, twisted so tightly they'd become the same. "Son," I whispered, my throat closing. "Please, I'm still your father." His lips curled into a bitter smile. "Not out here, you're not. Out here, you're just prey." And with that, he turned and vanished deeper into the dark, leaving me shaking, my flashlight trembling in my grip. For the first time, I wasn't sure which predator terrified me more, the grizzly bear or my own son. The forest swallowed Jason's words, but they lingered in my head like poison. "Out here, you're just prey." I stumbled forward, my legs heavy, the flashlight jerking as I swung it side to side. I couldn't let him disappear again. Not after what he'd said. Not after I saw the hatred burning in his eyes. "Jason," my voice cracked. "You don't understand what you're doing. This isn't a game. You'll regret this." The trees offered no answer. Only the whisper of wind and the distant hoot of an owl. My chest ached with each breath, my body trembling from fear, exhaustion, and the crushing weight of guilt. Then I heard it again, the low rumble, the sound that turned my blood to ice. The bear. It was closer this time, moving with deliberate slowness. I froze, raising the flashlight. The beam trembled across the tree line until it caught movement, massive shoulders weaving between trunks, golden eyes catching the glow. "Oh God," I muttered, stumbling back. My heart thrashed in my chest. The clearing felt smaller, the night tighter, as though the forest itself wanted to deliver me into the beast's jaws. And then, laughter. Jason's laughter. I spun, the light bouncing wildly, but couldn't find him. The sound drifted like smoke, impossible to pin down. "You see him now, Dad?" Jason's voice taunted. "This is what it feels like to have something bigger than you, stronger than you, something you can't control." "Jason, stop!" I shouted, panic spiking as the bear drew closer. Its growl shook through the ground, rattling my bones. "You always thought you were in charge," Jason sneered from the darkness. "But now, you're nothing." The bear stepped into view, fully this time, its hulking form illuminated by the thin beam of my flashlight. My throat tightened, its snout lifted, nostrils flaring, catching my scent. Its teeth gleamed as it let out a guttural huff. My grip tightened on the branch, though it felt laughably useless. "Jason," I roared, desperation breaking through. "If you want to punish me, do it yourself. Don't let the forest do your dirty work." For a split second, silence. Then, Jason's voice, quieter now, almost trembling. "Maybe I want to see if you'll fight for once. Fight for me. For us." The words struck deeper than the growl ever could. My chest heaved, my eyes burning with tears I hadn't let fall in years. "Jason," I whispered, my voice raw. "I failed you. God knows I've failed. But I never stopped loving you. Not once. Not ever." The bear roared, cutting me off, lunging a step forward. I stumbled back, nearly tripping, my flashlight beam jerking across its massive frame. Somewhere beyond the beast, Jason's silhouette appeared briefly, just a shadow between trees. Watching, waiting. And in that terrifying moment, I realized the truth. This wasn't just about punishment. This was a test. My son was forcing me to prove something, even if it killed me. The bear's eyes locked on mine. My pulse hammered so violently I could barely hear Jason's voice anymore. I had seconds to decide. Fight, freeze, or run. And I knew Jason was out there, judging every move. The bear lowered its head, shoulders rolling like boulders under its fur, its breath steaming in the cold night. The growl rumbled, so deep it seemed to shake the earth itself. My body screamed at me to run, but I couldn't. Not with Jason watching. Not when this was the test he'd laid out for me. "Jason," I shouted into the darkness, my throat raw. "You want to see me fight? Then watch." I gripped the branch in both hands, raising it high, my heart thundering against my ribs. The bear's eyes locked on me, unblinking, unrelenting. It snorted, saliva dripping from its maw, and then it charged. The ground shook with its weight. I barely had time to think. My legs moved on instinct, sidestepping as I swung the branch with all the force I had. It cracked against the bear's shoulder, a hollow thud that barely slowed it down. The beast roared, spinning, claws tearing into the dirt where I'd just stood. I stumbled back, flashlight beam whipping across the clearing. My chest heaved, adrenaline burning through me like fire. It came again, faster this time. I threw myself sideways, rolling hard across the ground. Pain shot through my ribs, but I forced myself up, branch still clutched in my bleeding hands. "Come on," I roared, voice cracking with rage and desperation. The bear swiped, claws slicing the air inches from my face. I swung again, smashing the branch into its snout. The wood cracked on impact, splinters flying. The beast reared back, roaring so loud my ears rang. Somewhere in the distance, Jason's voice echoed, sharp, frantic. "Don't stop now, Dad. Show me." Tears blurred my vision, but I kept swinging. Every ounce of regret, every missed game, every broken promise poured into each strike. The branch shattered finally, snapping in half, leaving me with a jagged piece of wood. The bear lunged, slamming me to the ground. Air ripped from my lungs as its weight pinned me down. Its hot breath burned my face, teeth gleaming inches from my throat. My arms shook violently, holding the broken branch between us, pressing against its massive chest. "Jason," I screamed, voice tearing apart. "Help me." For a heartbeat, silence. No answer. The bear's jaws snapped, ripping through the air. My muscles strained, with digging into my palms. My vision blurred with spots of black. I couldn't hold it much longer. And then, a flash. A beam of light. Jason's flashlight cutting through the dark. "Dad." His voice finally cracked, trembling. "Raw? Don't give up." The bear's weight pressed harder, my bones screaming. But his words, his voice, sent a surge through me I didn't know I had left. I twisted the broken branch, shoving it upward with everything inside me. It rammed into the bear's jaw, startling it, forcing its head back. The beast roared, thrashing, pulling away just enough for me to roll free. I scrambled to my feet, gasping, clutching the splintered wood like a dagger. The bear huffed, pawing at the dirt, eyes burning. My chest heaved, blood pounding in my ears. I was battered, broken, but I was still standing. And for the first time, I thought maybe, just maybe, Jason finally saw me. The clearing stank of dirt and sweat, of blood and fear. My chest heaved, every breath scraping like glass down my throat. The bear had retreated a few paces, pacing, growling low, as though deciding whether I was worth the effort to finish. My legs wobbled beneath me, but I forced myself to stand tall, clutching the jagged branch like a blade. "Jason," I roared into the dark, voice ragged. "If you want me broken, you'll have to look me in the eyes when it happens." For a long moment, nothing. Just the steady rumble of the beast circling, the crunch of its paws tearing the soil. And then, finally, Jason stepped into the light. He emerged from between the trees, hood down, flashlight in hand. His face was pale, streaked with sweat, but his eyes still burned with that same cold fire. He stared at me, then at the bear, then back again. "You didn't run," he said flatly. My chest heaved. "I couldn't. Not with you watching." His jaw clenched, his knuckles white around the flashlight. "All my life, you ran. From me. From Mom. From everything that mattered." The words hit harder than the bear's charge. I staggered back a step, shaking my head. "Jason, I thought I was doing what I had to. Providing. Working. Giving you more than I ever had. You gave me nothing." His voice cracked, loud enough to make the bear huff and snarl. "Do you know what it's like to sit in the bleachers alone? To watch other dads cheer for their kids while mine never shows? Do you know what it's like to wait at the door on birthdays until midnight, hoping maybe you'd come home?" My throat closed. The jagged stick trembled in my grip. "Jason, don't say sorry." His voice cut like glass. "Sorry doesn't erase years." The bear growled again, inching closer, forcing both of us to turn. Its massive shoulders rolled, nostrils flaring. My pulse spiked, but I didn't run. Not this time. Instead, I faced Jason, my voice trembling but steady. "You're right. I failed you. I failed in ways I can't take back. But if you wanted me to see you, Jason, I see you now. I see your pain. I see the boy I hurt. And I'll keep fighting until you believe it." He blinked, just once, but his lips stayed tight. His flashlight beam shook in his hand. For the first time, though, I thought I saw the anger waver. Not gone, but cracked. The bear roared suddenly, pawing the earth, snapping us both back. Jason flinched, stepping closer without realizing. For the first time in years, we were side by side. My voice dropped low, raw. Jason, if you hate me, fine. If you want me gone, fine. But right now, it's not me you have to fight. It's him. The grizzly huffed again, shifting its weight. Jason's flashlight beam darted across its massive frame. His chest rose and fell in rapid bursts, fear creeping into the cracks of his defiance. Jason, I whispered, my hand trembling as I reached slightly toward him. Son, please, help me. He didn't move. His jaw was tight, his body rigid. But he didn't step away, either. He stood there, shoulder just barely brushing mine, staring into the darkness where the beast circled. And in that fragile silence, I realized something. This was the first time in years we were truly facing the same thing together. The bear's growl rolled through the clearing, vibrating in my chest like a drumbeat of doom. My broken branch felt like nothing in my hands, a toy against a monster. Beside me, Jason's flashlight trembled, its beam jittering across the beast's scarred snout. We stood together, but we weren't united, not yet. The space between us was filled with years of silence, resentment, and unspoken truths. Jason, I whispered, keeping my eyes on the animal. You have to decide. Are you with me or against me? He flinched at the words, his breath sharp. Don't put this on me. You don't get to ask me for loyalty after everything. The bear snorted, pawing the dirt, inching closer. Its teeth glistened in the weak beam of light, saliva dripping onto the grass. This isn't about loyalty, I said, my voice raw. It's about survival. Yours and mine. Jason's jaw tightened. His face flickered in the light. A boy, then a man, then something broken in between. Why should I save you, Dad? You never saved me. His words cut deeper than the bear's claws ever could. My throat burned, but I forced myself to speak through the weight of it. Because I'm your father. Because I'm still here, Jason. For the first damn time in too long, I'm here. Not at work. Not making excuses. Right here, beside you. The bear bellowed, rising onto its hind legs again, towering above us like a shadow of judgment. Jason gasped, stepping closer without realizing. His shoulder brushed mine, and for a heartbeat, it felt like the years between us shrank. You always said you were fighting for me. Jason spat, though his voice cracked. But I never saw it. Then watch me now, I growled, gripping the jagged stick tighter. If I go down tonight, it'll be fighting for you. The beast lunged forward, a blur of muscle and rage. Jason shouted, the sound raw, panicked, but instead of running, he lifted the flashlight and hurled it. The heavy metal clattered against the bear's muzzle. It reared back with a furious roar. The moment was small, but it was enough. Jason had acted. He'd chosen, if only for an instant, to stand beside me. Jason, I barked, adrenaline flooding my veins. Get a rock, a branch, anything. He froze, wide-eyed, torn between fear and instinct. But then he bent down, grabbing a thick limb from the ground, his knuckles white as he raised it. The bear charged again, its roar splitting the night. I shoved Jason back, swinging my stick as hard as I could. The wood splintered across its snout, blood spraying. It howled, thrashing its head, swiping a paw that missed me by inches. Jason screamed, but instead of running, he swung his branch too, slamming it against the beast's shoulder. The sound cracked through the night. For the first time, we fought together. Again, I shouted, our voices merging with the chaos. The bear snarled, stumbling back a step, shaking its massive head. Jason swung again, teeth clenched, face twisted with something between fury and release. And in that wild, impossible moment, I saw it. Not the angry boy who had dragged me into this nightmare, but my son, fighting beside me, finally, not against me. The beast roared again, circling, blood streaking its fur. We weren't safe yet, not even close. But for the first time that night, I believed we had a chance. Because for the first time in years, Jason and I were on the same side. The bear roared again, blood glistening on its snout where our blows had landed. It wasn't retreating. It was circling, testing us, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. My lungs burned, My arms shook, but I gritted my teeth and stood my ground. Beside me, Jason panted hard, his branch trembling in his grip. His face was pale, but there was fire in his eyes now. Fear mixed with something new, something I hadn't seen in years. Determination. "Dad," he gasped, voice cracking. "We can't beat this thing." "Yes, we can," I growled, eyes locked on the beast. "Together." The word hung in the air. Together. For a moment, even the forest seemed to hold its breath. The bear lunged suddenly, swiping with one massive paw. I shoved Jason aside and swung what was left of my jagged stick, smashing it against the beast's forearm. Pain exploded in my shoulder as the force sent me sprawling to the ground. My flashlight tumbled, its beam rolling across the dirt. "Dad!" Jason screamed. I forced myself to roll just as the bear's paw slammed into the earth where I'd been. The ground shook. Dirt sprayed into my face. My ribs screamed in protest, but I scrambled up, coughing, clutching the broken wood tighter. Jason swung his branch with a shout, striking the bear's flank. The beast snarled, turning toward him. My heart stopped. "No!" I roared, hurling myself between them. I drove the jagged stick forward, jamming it into the bear's chest. The beast roared in agony, staggering back, but the branch snapped in my hands, leaving me weaponless. My chest heaved. My body shook. We were running out of options. Jason's breath hitched. "Dad, I'm sorry." The words caught me off guard, sharper than the bear's claws. For a heartbeat, I forgot the danger. I turned to him, wide-eyed. "Jason, I hated you for so long," he choked out, tears glistening in the weak flashlight beam. "I thought you never cared. I wanted you to feel what I felt. Alone, weak, forgotten. But seeing you here, fighting like this, you're not who I thought you were." The bear roared again, circling us, but for the first time, I didn't feel the cold isolation of guilt pressing down. I felt something else, something warmer, even in the middle of this nightmare. "I should have been there," I said, my voice breaking. "At every game, every birthday, every night you waited by the door. I failed you, Jason, but I never stopped loving you. Not once." His face crumpled, torn between rage and grief. The tears spilled over, but his grip on the branch tightened. He stepped closer, shoulder against mine, standing not as an enemy, but as my son. The bear lunged again, but this time, we moved together. I grabbed a rock from the ground, hurling it with every ounce of strength I had. It cracked against the beast's jaw. Jason swung his branch, striking its side with a wild shout. The beast stumbled back, bellowing, swiping at the air, frustrated. For the first time, it seemed uncertain. Jason gasped, his chest heaving. "We can do this." "Yes," I whispered, my arm burning with pain, but my heart pounding with something fierce. "We can." The bear snarled, circling once more, but we were no longer prey scattered in the dark. We were together, and together, we might just survive the night. The bear circled again, panting heavily, blood streaking its fur from our blows. Its roars shook the clearing, but there was hesitation now, a flicker of uncertainty in its massive frame. My body screamed in pain, every muscle trembling, but I forced myself to stand tall. Beside me, Jason's chest rose and fell in sharp bursts, his branch raised, his knuckles white. For the first time in years, we stood together, shoulder to shoulder. "Dad," Jason whispered, eyes never leaving the beast. "If we don't make it, we will." I cut him off, my voice hoarse but firm. "Because I'm not letting you go. Not again." His throat bobbed, his jaw tight. And for a brief second, his eyes softened, not with forgiveness, not yet, but with recognition. He saw me. The bear roared, snapping the moment apart, and lunged. Its claws tore through the dirt as it charged straight at us. "Now!" I shouted. We moved as one. Jason swung his branch with a desperate cry, striking the bear's muzzle. At the same time, I grabbed another rock from the ground and hurled it into its eye. The beast roared in fury, staggering sideways, thrashing its massive head. Again, I bellowed. Jason struck its flank, wood cracking against fur and bone. I slammed another rock against its shoulder, the impact jarring through my arm. The bear howled, rearing back on its hind legs. The sight was terrifying, a towering wall of muscle and rage, blotting out the sky. My heart thundered, but I forced myself forward, shouting with everything in me. "Come on! Jason echoed me, his young voice raw, breaking. Come on. For the first time in years, our voices blended, father and son united, defying the darkness. The bear swiped, its paw missing us by inches, crashing into a tree and splitting bark. Jason stumbled, nearly falling, but I caught his arm, yanking him upright. Our eyes met for a fleeting moment, and in that glance, I saw it. The boy who once trusted me, and the man he was becoming. We're not running, I growled. He nodded, breathless. Not anymore. The bear growled again, shaking its head violently. Blood dripped into the dirt. Its breaths came ragged now, slower, heavier. The fight had taken its toll. Jason lifted his branch, his arms trembling. Dad, I think it's giving up. I shook my head. Don't believe it. Not until it's gone. The beast pawed the earth, glaring at us with burning eyes. For a long moment, it just stood there, chest heaving, rage and pain twisting in its massive frame. Then, slowly, it stepped back. Another step, and another. Jason gasped, lowering his branch slightly. It's leaving. The bear growled one last time, a warning, before disappearing into the shadows of the trees. The forest swallowed its bulk until only silence remained. I collapsed to my knees, my chest heaving, sweat and dirt clinging to my skin. Jason dropped beside me, his branch slipping from his hands. For the first time that night, we weren't prey. We were survivors. But as the silence stretched, heavier now than the roar, I realized the fight with the bear was only half the battle. The harder part was still ahead, facing the boy beside me, the son I had failed, the son who had dragged me into this nightmare to make me see him. And now, for the first time, I truly did. Silence blanketed the clearing after the bear's departure, broken only by our ragged breathing. My chest rose and fell in painful heaves, every muscle screaming from the fight. Dirt and blood caked my hands, and my knees trembled beneath me. Jason sat a few feet away, his branch lying broken in the grass. His face was pale, streaked with sweat, but his eyes were locked on me. Not with rage now, not with mockery, with something harder to face. Recognition. I swallowed hard, my throat raw. Jason, my voice cracked. I don't have excuses. I can't rewrite the past. But tonight, I broke off, shaking my head. Tonight, I hope you saw I would fight for you, that I'd bleed for you. He said nothing at first, just sat there, chest heaving, his expression unreadable. The silence pressed heavy, heavier than the bear's roar. Then, slowly he spoke. His voice was quiet, trembling. I hated you. The words cut, but I didn't flinch. I know. I wanted you to feel how I felt. He went on, eyes burning. Alone, helpless, like no one would come save you. I thought, maybe then you'd understand. And do you think I understand now? I asked gently, my heart pounding. He blinked, jaw tightening. Yes, and it scares me, because seeing you fight out there, I realized I don't want to lose you. Not really. Tears stung my eyes, hot and unrelenting. I reached out, hand trembling, leaving it open in the space between us. For a long moment, he just stared. Then, slowly, hesitantly, Jason placed his hand in mine. His grip was weak at first, then tightened. My throat closed. I pulled him closer, wrapping my arms around him. For the first time in years, I held my son, not as a child, not as a stranger, but as the only thing in this world that mattered. I'm sorry, I whispered into his hair, voice breaking. For every game I missed. Every night I wasn't there. I can't change it, Jason, but I swear, from this moment on, I'll never stop showing up. His body shook against mine. I don't know if I can forgive you, he murmured. Not yet. That's okay, I said, tears streaking my face. Just don't give up on me. Give me a chance to prove it. We sat there in the dirt, clinging to each other, the forest around us silent now, almost reverent. The danger had passed, but the scars, both inside and out, would linger. Finally, Jason pulled back, wiping his face with his sleeve. We need to get out of here before it comes back. I nodded, forcing myself to my feet despite the pain. Together, I said. He met my eyes, and though his lips didn't curve into a smile, the hardness in his gaze had softened. He nodded. Together, we gathered what little strength we had left and started walking, side by side, through the dark forest. The path ahead was uncertain, maybe even more dangerous than the night we had just survived. But for the first time in years, I didn't feel alone. And for the first time, I believed that my son, my Jason, saw me not as prey, not as a failure, but as his father again.